Let me tell you something, my dear. You drink, you drive. He will get you off, and that's no jive. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Regular Guy's Chief Legal Counsel and the top DUI attorney in Georgia, maybe America, George Stein, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. The legal petitong to you guys.
Thank you, George. Last week, you brought in a controversial video concerning our next guest who's sitting right with us. We'll introduce him in a second. Well, let's introduce him via the video. Here's a clip of the video he made, kind of watching the watchers, going to a DUI checkpoint and filming the goings-on from his personal point of view with a GoPro camera. Here's Ashton Woolen and his video.
Oh, you want down there, bud? I'm comfortable right there. You what? I'm comfortable with it right there. You comfortable with it right there? Yes. You roll the window down. We're just out looking for drunks, man. We're not here to hurt you or whatever. Pull over on the side so we can do a vehicle inspection. So I'm being pulled into secondary because my tires might be illegal. Who wants to see your tire out here, man? It's slick. I'd prefer to not get out of my vehicle.
Let me ask you something. Are you scared?
To get out of my vehicle? Yes, sir.
You are?
Yes, sir.
Why are you scared of the law?
I'm not scared of the law.
Where are you hiding from?
I'm not hiding from anything, sir, because I feel safer.
Scared of the dark?
Maybe.
I believe you are. Grown man scared of the dark. That sounds kind of funny to me.
Sounds funny.
See this vehicle out on the road again?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to stop you just because that tire on the right front. Yeah, you don't know
Tread's too thin.
Mike Freeman, do you?
Who?
Remember him writing you for 84 and a 65?
Yes, sir.
On 575? See why he's scared to get out now. Get that
No,
tire
he was very professional. I actually had a good encounter.
Ashton Woolen, Petitong, welcome.
Petitong, gentlemen.
That was, so you put in a GoPro camera and you found out where the checkpoint was and you decided to see what happens for the public to know.
I did. I had a friend message me on Facebook and said they saw a checkpoint near my house, so I just stuck my camera on the dashboard and went to go investigate.
Do you do this a lot? Your friends know that you kind of stir things up with your videos?
Yeah, I've never actually been out filming until that first checkpoint video, but I definitely plan on doing more.
Hold up a second. I thought that this just happened to you, that you ride around with a GoPro, and I was like, okay, if he ever got in an accident, he could use this as evidence, but you went out there purposely.
What difference does it make?
It makes a little difference to me. I think it does. I mean, I respect it.
It takes balls, does it not?
It does take balls to not roll your window all the way down. I will go ahead and tell you that.
And what is wrong with that?
Nah, he's just tested. He went out to stir it, I guess.
Yeah, well, shouldn't there be people who do that, who watch the watchers?
Based on hearing the way these officers handled themselves, I have to rule on this kid's side because I think that was way too good, old boy.
So it takes a little planning to do something right. You understand that?
I do. I just didn't know that you did it on purpose as like an experiment, but I guess you showed there is a problem.
Now, George Stein was in here, Ashton, and he disagreed with your tactics. George, what's your opinion of the whole thing?
Well, listen, I understand Ashton's trying to be sort of a quote-unquote constitutional cop, but whenever you come up to the police, be it at a roadblock or otherwise, if you don't put your window down, it's going to escalate usually. Yeah. And I just don't advise it because it's against your own best interest.
Ashton, what do you have to say to that?
I have to say that I did roll down my window enough to pass things through, to talk. They could hear me fine. Obviously, when one of the troopers is in front of the vehicle, you could still hear it on the camera perfectly fine. So there's definitely no audio issue there. And legally, I mean, I don't even have to roll down my window. And do you
think it escalated? Do you think you escalated it, or they escalated it, or nobody escalated it?
I guess technically it would kind of be both parties, but I didn't roll down my window more than he wanted, and he wasn't happy that I wasn't obeying every command of his. And
I would say, George, they were calling him names at the end, hinting that he may be kind of a puss. Well, I don't think the law needs to judge that. Well, it's not necessary.
Well, what I'm trying to say, Larry, is he could have accomplished the same thing with the window all the way down. He still could have filmed. He still could have stated his case. He still could have done everything.
But why not accomplish it while doing it your way?
Well,
I mean, he did. Look at the results. He's here. Were you arrested at all?
No, I wasn't. They set me on my way, and I was free to go.
I was shocked that they asked you to get out of the car to look at your tire. You said that you were scared, and they didn't pursue that. I'm surprised they didn't pull you out and arrest you at that point.
Well, if nobody's scared about being detained against their will against two armed strangers, I mean, that'd be pretty surprising.
Thank you, because I think it's
way of looking at it.
Why do you think people are nervous around the cops?
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you ever have a cop behind you on the car, what's your first thought? Like, oh, I feel safe now? Or are you like, oh, I hope I don't do something
I feel
wrong?
like I'm in trouble. I got to call George. That's my first impulse. So it's a very real thing. I think you were honest, and I think that disarmed him. You just were not trying to hide the fact that you did fear them,
right.
and for good reason. And you should. Isn't that what the cops like, George? They like when you fear them, show a healthy respect. I think he showed a healthy respect.
I think so, yes.
I wasn't unhealthy, or else he'd have been arrested and beaten like Rodney King.
Sure. I mean, it's funny how this video played out because, just a 30-second summary of the law. In America, it's not legal to stop somebody for any old reason just because you feel like it. It can't be arbitrary. I think I'll stop you because I think maybe something's going on.
By statute, but I mean...
the Fourth Amendment, no unreasonable searches or seizures. So... the exception to that is called a roadblock in the Supreme Court.
Why is there an exception? That's what I think that's what Ashton is questioning. Why do we accept this exception? Just because somebody's in a court somewhere along the line said, we think it's reasonable to have a DUI checkpoint. So it automatically takes it off the table.
Well, the Supreme Court says it's okay, and the Georgia
What is
Supreme Court
unreasonable?
But let's look at it.
Yeah.
They say within this exception, you have to treat everybody the same. You have to follow certain protocols, certain rules. You have to stop all cars. It only can be a brief encounter. You can't hold them for an hour to see if anything's wrong.
Well, this video, how long was it, Ashton?
The whole encounter was about 15 minutes. The video was about 8 because I fast-forwarded through just them sitting in my car.
And number 3, this is really important. When there's a roadblock, it has to have a stated purpose. It can't be multi-purpose.
Well, they stated the purpose, and then they kept harassing him after it was clear he wasn't drunk.
They said the purpose was we're out here looking for drunks.
Right.
As soon as they started doing a safety check on his tires, that was outside that stated purpose. Arguably, the whole roadblock would have been illegal had he been arrested.
I think they were looking for non-compliant citizens to their demands, pure and simple, and that's not right. That's not acceptable. That's not reasonable.
I know, but listen, in a modern
going
day,
on a hunting, presuming guilt before innocence, going on a hunt for people who might be doing something illegal I think we've lost the plot.
But modernly, Larry, roadblocks probably make sense if you really think about it. What if there's a bank robbery and they have to, have a checkpoint on all roads leading in and all roads leading out? I mean,
that's not unreasonable. I would still say there's better ways to catch the guy because bank robbery is a low percentage shot. But Ashton, are you going to make more videos?
Definitely. If I ever see a checkpoint and get pulled over, or if I see somebody pulled over and there's a safe place for me to, I'm going to film that encounter. I'm going to do public records requests and film those.
What time of night was this, real quick?
That was 10:30 on a Thursday night.
And what do you hope to gain out of this? What's your goal?
To hopefully just shed light on the subject, get other people doing it, and just get a general discussion going, just like what we have going on here.
Right, because we need to have that discussion. Even if it doesn't turn out the way one side wants it or the other, you still need to have that healthy discussion to keep the issues in place so people are aware of where there's flaws in the system.
You also know the law, it seems like. You've studied it. You knew what your rights were about even a window rolling it down.
Or did you?
Right. Yeah, I knew about the window.
Sounds like you did.
The reason I went along with the vehicle inspection because I didn't know about the legalities of that, and I still have not been able to find any information on that. So,
Speaking of the
George,
legal,
well, George, let me ask you. You're an attorney. Why, if they're going after drunks, did they start harassing him for tires and other stuff that's not germane to the checkpoint?
Well, that's just my point. I think the window, the non-compliance of putting it down, precipitated that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it's wrong to do them. They're not conditional, right? The rights are not conditional on how you roll down your window. So I would say, like, whether he rolled down his window, it clearly was legal, or else they'd arrested him.
Yeah, I know, but
he didn't do anything illegal.
We're talking about common sense sorts of things. If it's legal to have a gun.
So assume that the cops are going to be thugs, is what you're saying.
Well, no, listen.
What other common sense is there? It's like, well, I assume the cops are going to be unreasonable, so I better comply with everything they demand.
I know, but listen.
Or else they'll beat me. It's living in fear.
Listen, the police are vulnerable out there.
That's true.
And to an extent, they
Who's
have
more vulnerable, him, Ashton, or the cops?
Yeah, but what about good officers that get shot?
Yeah, they don't know what you got in your car.
What about them?
I understand that.
That has nothing to do with Ashton or a DUI checkpoint.
You never know who's out there.
Well, I would say to the cops, if you don't like getting shot, don't mess with people who are minding their own business. Don't start. Just like you wouldn't want to mess with the cops who are doing their job. You wouldn't want to interfere with them. You don't want to pull up next to a guy taking radar and say, jerk. You just want to go the speed limit and move on. The cops should think about the same thing. You stir up enough people, they're going to rebel. You don't want to do that. That's not right.
I still think you should have rolled your window down. But other than that, it was pretty badass work you did.
Yeah, then they stick their head in, right? And I smell alcohol.
But that's what
out.
they're doing. That's what they want to know. They want to smell and see if there's alcohol.
Exactly. Right.
Or
so
pot.
Why would you allow that if you're a free citizen? That pose you put in the airport, like your hands over your head in the X-ray,
I hate that.
Is that the pose of a free citizen?
No, I feel like a guilty person. I'm like, what have I done wrong to deserve this? That's a good point.
All right, we'll get to this. Calls from the general public. You can chime in. George, thank you.
Welcome.
And Ashton, thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
Best of luck to you. Be careful out there. And George, where can people reach you?
Well, in your time of need,
really effed up.
Your time of need, DUI, personal injury in a car, a motorcycle, a truck, call me 404-522-1000.
Here's another one. Barry in Douglasville, Petitong.
Petitong, guys. Just want to comment about the guy going to DUI Checkpoint.
Yeah, let me recap for people. During George Stein files, there's a guy who set up his camera so he would be ensnared in a DUI checkpoint, and not so much hilarity ensued as he tried to make a point with the officers. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I think these checkpoints equate to what is warrantless searches, and I don't mean to sound like I'm critical of law enforcement. My son's a law enforcement officer, and I'm a fan of law enforcement, but I'm not a fan of just willy-nilly giving up my freedoms.
It seemed in that one they said this officers did state that they were just looking for drunks. And then the question
how does his turn signal is going to tell them whether he's been drinking or not?
Right.
Well, they did that because he was lippy with them.
Right. They want the window down so that they can say they smelled something, which gives them, in their mind, reasonable cause to go and search the car.
Right.
And I know they have a job to do, they have an important job to do, but taking away our freedoms like that is just not the answer. And if it goes unquestioned, then what's the next step? Government works in little bitty steps.
So you think this guy is a hero for making this video for all of us?
I don't know if I'd call him a hero, but I'm glad he's standing up for his freedoms.
You scared?
No, it took a lot of guts to behave the way that guy did because he could have been arrested for it.
Correct. A lot of balls.
It really did.
You got to admire that.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
You afraid of dark? Boy, that's what it is. Get out, boy.
No, come out here. I just want to show you something on your tire. Come outside so we can see you real good.
Oh, you got a bruise on your knee? Where'd you get that? Whack.
Yeah, it's a good thing you had the camera up, right? God knows what would have happened.
Are you allergic to volts?
Hey, 7625. Let's get to calls from the general public. This is Brian in Kennesaw, Petitong.
Petitong, gentlemen. Good morning.
What's going on, Brian?
I work in law enforcement. Just wanted to make a couple quick comments on the fellow you had in who was filming the checkpoint.
Ashton Woolen, the Woodstock traffic guy.
Right. I'm all for people filming what I do because it protects me as well as protects them.
Mm-hmm.
They want to roll their window down halfway. As long as I can see them and get what I need, that's fine. But the one comment that he made that kind of sticks out is being safe with two armed strangers.
Mm-hmm.
What I think you should remember is when someone's in his house with a gun or bringing violence upon his loved ones, from listening to him, he's not going to do anything to help. And these armed strangers are going to be the one he's going to be happy to see who run to trouble when everybody else runs away.
I'm sure in that context he would, but you understand in the context he was in, you don't want to be around armed strangers with questionable goals.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm all for filming, because it keeps everybody honest, and if I'm doing my job like I'm supposed to be, I have nothing to worry about.
What do you think of the DUI checkpoints?
I'm all for them as long as it's within the context of looking for someone who is drinking, because that puts everybody in danger,
right,
or using some type of narcotics that, if you can smell marijuana coming out, but not just to hassle somebody over their tire or, a headlight or something along those lines. If it's for the purpose of what they're out there for, keeping everybody else safe, I'm all for it.
Yeah. What if you see colleagues who behave like those guys in the video? Do you say anything to them, or you just, let players play?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because they had the kind of the good old boys mentality, and they were kind of making fun of them by being afraid of the dark and whatnot. Something like that, I don't know if I'd really say anything if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical. But I wouldn't behave like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There is a professionalism, and we know cops like that, and some of them even are my friends. But when you see this guy, he's very small, and I can just see him just kind of picking on him. And it was a little jockocracy.
Yeah, it was like it
was a little bit of that.
That's what it struck me as.
Yeah,
the football team ganging up on the water boy.
Dude,
Ashton Woolen is skinny as hell.
Oh yeah, this dude weighs 140 and is like 6'7". So
yeah.
I mean,
crazy.
And his point about videotaping is the cops in this video, if you see them, they are shining their flashlights intentionally into the camera to obscure it.
Yeah, there's no need for that. Buddy.
Brian in Canton, Petitong.
Petitong.
What's going on?
Just calling about that Ashton kid from Woodstock.
The one who made the video of the cop DUI checkpoint.
Yeah, I'm not on the side of the policeman because I don't think they acted properly, but he was just kind of being a little a-hole. Just being difficult, trying to stir up some trouble. I understand trying to make himself feel safe, but, I mean, this isn't L.A. or anything where they've got the Rodney King beatings going on. It's just some backwoods country cops.
Well, let me ask you this. You did say that he was successful in revealing something about those cops, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be a good idea? Don't you want somebody revealing how the cops are misbehaving or bullying citizens? If that's how they behave when the cameras are on and they know it. How do they behave when they know there's no camera?
They don't, and I agree with you there, but he was just inversely bullying them back in a sense.
Yeah, it was bully on bully a little bit. You got to see that, Larry. He went out with the sole purpose of testing them.
Yeah, but bullying.
Yeah,
that's not
that
bullying.
was all he was trying to do.
That's not bullying. Bullying is when you use your power, whether it's through a weapon or a badge, and force to coerce somebody into doing something that's maybe not in their best interest. That is bullying.
Also, he's being an activist, and that's what activists do. They go out and they create the situation to show you what's going on.
Yeah, there's not equal power. In other words, to have a bully arrangement, there's got to be uneven power. And the cops clearly had uneven power. He was overmatched, yet he still escaped because he was doing nothing illegal. So I think it was very revealing, as you said.
And that's good and well, but I just think there's other ways to go about it that are less...
How would you do it?
Honestly, I wouldn't. I guess, conform in his eyes and just roll down my window, tell him, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. There's no reason to pull me over for suspicion and let me get on in 30 seconds instead of wasting 5 minutes of my time.
Well, wait a minute. What if you said to the cops? What do you think they'd do? Do you think they would listen to your request, or would they pound you?
For what now?
Well, if you tell a cop, well, stop wasting my time.
No. I wouldn't act like Ashton did and waste my own time.
Well, it's his time, but what I'm saying to you is you said how there's got to be a better way to handle it, and how would you handle the task of finding out if the cops are doing their job or not?
How
would you write it down? Would you?
I don't know. That's a question I don't have an answer to. I guess.
Well, the question is basically you've got to test them. In order to find out if they're doing their job, you have to test them, which is run them through the law and see if they go along with the law or know it.
This is Sarah in Alpharetta, Petitong.
How are y'all this morning?
We're doing well, Sarah. Thank you. You have a pretty voice.
Thank you. I was calling to comment on the gentleman that recorded the traffic stop.
Mm-hmm. At Ashton.
The DUI check stop, yes. A few years ago, I was coming home from volunteering at a dog rescue, and I was coming through Kingston, Georgia. I drove a Magnum at the time, one of the Hemi Magnums with tinted windows.
Yeah, come on.
You're badass.
And I got pulled over. I asked the cop why I got pulled over. At this point, I smelled like a wet dog. I had a dog in my back seat. And he said, well, we have a drug problem here in Kingston. That's why I pulled you over. And I asked him, I said, so you're saying my car looks like a drug dealer's car, and that's why you pulled me over? And he said, yep. Well, he ended up hitting on me and trying to get my phone number. And later on down the road, he actually hit on another police officer's wife and ended up getting fired.
So wait, let me ask you this. Your role in this, I mean, you're not the innocent. You're driving an aggressive car, and you're probably hot-looking enough that the cop stopped you. What were you advertising on your vehicle?
Absolutely nothing. I just had
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a Yamaha of Canton T-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Nice. Okay, so that's how was your hair done up?
It was up in a hat, actually.
Was your belly showing?
No, nothing was showing. I was completely covered up.
George, what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, listen,
That's harassment, right? He's trying to get some
dressed promiscuously under the old theory of what you show you owe.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a smaller town sort of police force scenario.
But what do you think of that behavior of the cop? Is that wrong?
Well, listen, the cops who's trying to stop people to hit on chicks is not a good thing. It'll get you in trouble real soon. And
should she have a camera with her at all times?
Well, no, I don't think so. And
no,
listen, it's amazing in life how the right thing happens. Because the right thing happened to that officer. 99% of them are wonderful human beings that do a great job, and that those very few who don't. Look, that officer's not a police officer
George, what do you
anymore.
think of his behavior, though?
His behavior?
It doesn't matter
it was
whether
unprofessional.
Yeah, okay. So, Sarah, you should carry a camera with you at all times.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I should have had it at the time, but I didn't have one. So
Right. You could have been rich by now.
I know. Go figure.
Roddy White would have bought you Jordans. Unbelievable.
I had a female cop hit on me once. I know that sounds weird, but she did. And I thought it was neat. I was complimented by the whole thing, personally. Wouldn't you? I mean, cop hits on you, thinking about gun belts. And
I mean, it's
handcuffs.
better than hitting you and shining a flashlight and give you a drunk breathalyzer test.
What'd she do? Give you a warning for
she
indecent exposure?
She just asked me if I was single, and we started talking. She was flirting, and but I couldn't tell what she looked like under all that bulletproof vest stuff.
Couldn't make a good choice.
No, she looked like she was too much on the guy side of things. So the hair was too short.
If I see this vehicle out on the road again,
yes, sir,
I'm going to stop it just because that tire on the right front.
It is time to meet, once again, Ashton Woolen. Ashton, petitong to you, sir.
Petitong, gentlemen. Good to be back.
Now, Ashton is what we call a cop blocker.
Correct.
And a cop blocker is somebody who challenges the conventional wisdom on the roads, like DUI checkpoints. And now your latest video, you tried to foil a speed trap.